This conference will now be recorded.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another one of our speaker series. Today is the 29th of May, and we're here with Rob, who's a self-taught musician and recording artist from Boston. And it's so funny because, in fact, he never really picked up an instrument until an accident that left him with a busted back at the age of 26. But he's had multiple surgeries, and he's been going on and moving on. And when the dust settles, essentially, over 2,000 shows and several awards later, including 2016's Limelight Magazine Male Vocalist of the Year, he's never felt better. He's always been passionate about music. He's has insane work ethic, and he's believed that that's what gets his career in motion. So today we're lucky to have Rob Pagnano today, and thank you so much for coming in. This is great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, Chuck. I'm excited to talk to everybody and see if I can do anything that might spark something.
Right. Yeah. So, so obviously, I just kind of gave you a brief introduction, but where'd you even, how did you even get into music? What did you do before the accident, and then how'd you get here?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I grew up I love to get dirty. I was an athlete, and I love the outdoors. So I actually grew up fishing and camping. That was my main thing that I did every day. And so I was always out. And I remember listening to music in the tents. Again, I'm on the water 4 or 5 days a week now. I'll get to that. But when I was a kid, we were always camping. And I remember just music hitting me a little different, but I never done anything with it. I was more interested in being active, playing sports and whatnot. And so I went through, I remember being a senior in high school, and someone had heard me singing, a friend of mine, and he's like, dude, you're pretty good. You're kind of good. And so I ended up singing at the lunch table. And some people were like, that sounds pretty good. I went to college, didn't do anything with it. And I went and played basketball. But I always had a love for music. And in college, friends of mine on the team, they took me to karaoke contests, and I actually won us some money to help pay for events and stuff. So we fast forward 5 years later, I'm 26 years old, and I was just a journeyman carpenter, doing all the labor jobs and whatnot, and definitely loved music, just hadn't done anything with it. I broke my back. Ended up having 3 major spinal surgeries from 26 to 29 years old. And in that time, my friends reminded me of the karaoke contest 5, 6 years earlier. And again, I just had that love for it. And so I had picked up the guitar at that point, and I remember putting it in my hands. And even though I couldn't play, it made sense. Something felt right. And it was just a different point in life. And I talked to a lot of people about, you never know when that moment's gonna hit, but when it does, you gotta hang on to it. And that's what I did. It took me almost 2 years to teach myself properly, because this is about 15, 16 years ago. And YouTube was a new thing, so I was using videos, and I can't read music still to this day. I can just do it by ear. And it was just one of those things. I had all the time in the world. I was laying in a bed. Some of the surgeries were real invasive. One was 14 hours long. And I had plenty of time. So I just worked at it. And I remember hearing the people say, there was some supportive, but others were like, you're almost 30 years old. And in my heart, I was like, it's never too late to do things you love. So I just went with it, and I've worked my way up. I've actually eclipsed the 3,000 show mark now, and some good things. I've had a couple songs in Country 102.5, and things are going well.
I know it's so funny to I mean, for me personally, to have seen you perform 10 years ago in the local scene,
Right.
and then for you to just say yeah, man, I can't read music, and I'm like, son of a gun, you know,
That's
who would have
okay.
thought? And on a personal note, I never learned how to read music until I got into college. Being a jazz drummer or whatever, nobody could really read charts until you had to.
Right.
And it's so funny, but you, like, from what I've seen, you've always had this flow, this automatic thing that went on. So it's so cool that like you're eclipsing your 3,000 show. 102.5 has featured you. You're on YouTube. You've hit so many things. What's that like? Like, do you feel like
Well,
do
yeah,
you feel like you should learn how to do it, or are you cool with where you are?
I'm always trying to improve. I would love to learn theory, and to be honest with you, I've tried. It might be over my pay grade. But that being said, this is I talk to a lot of people about this. You have to be true to who you are 100%. I realized after a few years of trying to sound like other people that I was going to be better off sounding like myself, because my tone's a little different than other people's. And that went into how I play songs. Some things I play aren't exactly like the way you would hear them. I write my own music as well, and that's obviously the main goal. But I still play a lot of cover shows because I enjoy it and it pays me well, and I get to play music for a living. But you'll hear something, and it might not be. People actually prefer the version because I'm just doing what I can do with it. At the end of the day, no matter what it is, what these guys are doing out there, you got to do it the way you feel, your interpretation. People will grab onto that so much better than trying to be like someone else. You just got to be your own original self. So it feels good. I'm also a big mindset guy. I call things out. I believe in calling them out to the universe and having that belief in yourself. And so over 10 years ago, I said that I would break into the music industry on the highest level at 41. I was 31. And people were like, that's the weirdest thing to, and at 41, I got a publishing deal offer. And like I believe you can birth things into existence. So as much as it's a great feeling, I don't doubt my path. I just believe in it. I don't care how long it takes. I'm a long-term thinker. So, yeah, it feels good though. I mean, I'm following what I said I was going to do. It's integrity and having character and sticking with what you say is so important.
Yeah, and then the first thing that pops into my mind is like Henry Ford used to say, if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you're right.
Right.
Like it's an amazing thing to have that
Right.
behind yourself. Like if you have that positive attitude going, I mean, the roads could be endless.
All 100%. And to this day, even 2 days ago, I did a special soft opening show where there were some, celebrities and different people there. An opportunity came to me that, again, if I had stopped or if I had, not every day is great. We all know this, but when push comes to shove, you have to hang on to that mentality. That is what is going to take you to another level.
That's so wonderful. Is there any one particular tune that you wrote yourself that might encompass all those things that you've expressed, like the journey, the road, or the positivity that came after?
You know what? It's so funny you said that. I wasn't even going to play that song, but I don't even know how to sound on the acoustic, but I wrote a song called Roads that is literally about the roads we need to take and who you will come across as we're going, and what you need to do to deal with them. Because you're going to end up in everything that you do, you're going to have people that support you, and then you will encounter, speed bumps and stop signs and things like that, that if you prepare yourself, you can get through. And when you get through, you're so much stronger. And then it just becomes easier. That momentum keeps going. So I wrote the song called Roads to encourage people, to, give them something to hear that would push them. I actually have a lot of people that have their kids in sports that this is one of the songs that they use. I mean, I could play a little bit of it if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful if you play a little ditty, as they say.
I'll just do a little bit of it. roads. I walk and travel them in hopes that what I see is not a ghost. I want to hold the star that's high beyond the clouds. I want my lips to touch the skies and I race. Sometimes I trip myself and fall. Sometimes I fall and lose it all. But then I get up from my knees and turn around. Back on these roads where all the dreams begin and end. It's long as blood runs through my veins. I'll carry on. Take the journey of your life. Did it be bold and stand alone? There's greatness in your heart. There's stories to be told. The kings and queens that live in us, they're only found to not be stolen. So to find you a triumphant crown, you must travel on these roads. These roads. These roads. So that's just a little bit of the message, you know. It's about, let's look at the line. I race, sometimes I trip myself and fall, sometimes I fall and lose it all, but then I get up from my knees and start again, back on these roads where all the dreams begin and end. They can end, they can start. No matter what, you got to get up and keep going on that road, period. No matter what, doesn't matter how many times life knocks you down, how many times that challenge that you're doing in the field, you know, whatever it is that I know you guys have some skills training and things you're doing, doesn't matter how many times you fail at it, because that's going to prepare you. Every time you keep getting up, every time you try to tie that knot, when you do get it, you are so much stronger. You're ready, and that's going to excel you and get you going to the next level. So that was the basis of the song, was to get people to dream and understand that, take the journey of life, dare to be bold and stand alone, not to be afraid what others think. The greatness is in your heart, and there are stories to be told. You know, there are already stories that you have written, you just haven't seen them yet. They're already in you. I promise you that people have success already done. It's getting to that point. And then kings and queens that live in us, they're only found, they're not bestowed. You know, in a kingdom, it used to be you were bestowed the crown, you were given it. No, you can take anything you want. You have the ability to be king, to be a queen, to do whatever you want. It's up to you to take it. And so find your triumphant crown, you must travel on these roads. So it's up to you to take the journey. Just keep getting up.
That's so powerful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
That's fantastic. And I just keep on thinking about, like, you know, the people who, as I was a kid, years ago, and they used to keep on saying, like, you know, mistakes are teachers. You know, like, what are you gonna do with what you've learned? You know, you gonna roll with it or not?
Oh yeah.
And it's so amazing to see, like, where you were, like me personally, as like a fan, but you're just like, you know, a regular bud. And then to see what greatness you're doing right now, it's so cool. How do you feel when you see your name on places like YouTube and Spotify, and how we could just search your name and you pop up?
I mean, to be honest with you, yeah, I'm past the point. Obviously, in the beginning, you're doing something, and you, especially being a younger person, there's a little bit of ego attached to stuff like that. You like, you know, honestly, where I'm at in my life now, I don't, the ego's gone. I learned to get rid of that, or it's on its way out. There are moments and flashes. It's always going to be a work in progress, but I don't do things for accolades anymore. To be honest with you, it's more about inspiring people and waking them up, because I feel like there's so much in this world out there that can push and form people into versions of them that aren't truly them. And what I feel like you need to do is break down those walls and rebuild from the bottom up. And it's more about a message for me. It's not about what am I going to gain from this. I actually get more from helping other people. You know, I think Will Smith had it in a video, and I'm not sure who the original person that said it was, but your greatest form of currency in this world is your effect on others. And it's so true. Everything you could ever want will come from you helping other people. And so that path has actually got me into positions and on places that I wouldn't have gotten to if I didn't get that maturity over the years, you know. So that's where I'm at now, man.
It's so cool. So how is how's touring like? Like I remember like watching like a couple of things that you would post, and then it seemed like
Yeah,
you
I've
were
done
going
some with
from
Kristen,
one,
and
yeah, one end to the other end of the U.S. real quick. So
I
how's
love
that
it.
line up?
Yeah, I mean, I live on the road. I'm also, like I mentioned to you earlier, I'm a sponsored kayak fisherman, so I'm on Team New Canoe,
Right.
and I fish all over the country. So I do the both. I'll bring my, I'm in Alabama in a couple months, and Ohio, and so I like being on the road. I really do, and I'm also in a much different place than when I started music. I don't drink. I don't do alcohol, anything. I live a very simple life. I like keeping things simple. I enjoy nature. I enjoy what's around me. So when I'm on the road, I'm not going into clubs and bars and stuff when I'm not at a show. I'm going around and looking at the natural resources and the things that are already here, because there's so much to appreciate already. And that's how I fill my day. So me on the road is me finding a lake and bringing my kayak and getting in the water and fishing. I mean, truthfully. And then it's going out and sharing a show with people, and you create this rapport. And I've met some of the most amazing people all over the world. I've gotten flown all over the country. I've played shows in Texas. I've played in Florida. It's an amazing thing. You get to see so much of the country, and I think having more perspectives in life is a good thing. It's easy to get caught in our bubble where we live, and when you start going out and seeing other places and seeing how other people live, it will make you a better person, I think. So yeah, my road is me trying to find out other people, how they live, make relationships, and set up more opportunity.
And then so what else would you help set up? Like you're talking about like what you've gone through and what the possibilities are. It's like, have you ever worked with some smaller schools or anything to help
Yeah,
them?
yeah. I mean, for sure. I've done opportunities for me now are getting on bigger stages because I'm trying to get heard by more people.
Right.
More opportunity. But I've actually done a little bit of motivational speaking because of my story and things I've gone through. I spoke in front of 13,000 people in Texas on a stage,
Wow.
which was amazing. But I've gone into schools. I've gone into realtors' offices, spoke with them about, because I do a lot of mindset stuff. I think that's one of the key things people neglect. If you train your mind, all the other stuff is going to come.
Right.
But yeah, I want to do more. That's when you ask me to do this. If I have the time, I'm going to do it. Period. Because I like doing stuff like this. It makes me feel good. I'm not going to say I was a saint. I think I was built from
Sure.
good people. But
Right.
this is also part of redemption.
Right.
I want to, at the end of my life, actually have done more good than I did anything that might have not been an example of my character, my true character. Because peer pressure, things like that, there are things that will happen in everyone's life that you might look back and go, I would do that differently, or maybe I wouldn't do that differently, but now I would do it, right? Like I needed it to happen. And so on the other side of that, it's, going in Christmas time, going to the hospitals, which I do. I'll go to hospitals and
Yeah. Yeah.
sing for people that are sick and stuff, things like that.
And it's so great too because like you think about it, and even when you mention like like did I do something that meant something to somebody else, even in your shows, it's amazing. You could see how people were like, yeah, that song it connects with me, like, and it makes me feel good. So like what you're doing, it doesn't matter if you're doing it in person, it doesn't matter if you're fishing on a boat, it doesn't matter if
Right,
you're playing the guitar. Like
right.
what you've done so far, I think it has been great. Do you
Yeah.
ever volunteer like outside of when you said the hospitals, like is that like just what, maybe a couple of VFWs or
No,
children's wards or?
I literally go into Children's Hospital on the
Okay, all right,
week of Christmas, and
sure.
people that can't get out, go to their rooms. I mean, just whatever I can do. I obviously, like, I don't want to portray it like I'm there every week. I'm not, but
Oh, sure.
it's anything. It's the little installments and the things that you can do. It's like adding them up. You know, like I would love to be able to do it more and more. And again, going and working harder at opportunities and getting better opportunities, which is something that's happening. It allows me more free time. If I'm able to do bigger things, then I have more free time for the other things that I want that are really important, because I think they are important. Getting a band on the same page is a little different, because like everybody wants to get paid, and I play with the top players in the state, you know,
Right.
all touring guys, and I'm more apt. When I started playing music, I had to work my way up from nothing. No one knew who I was. I mean, when you saw me, I was barely starting out, honestly.
Right. Which is amazing, because like I thought you guys were fantastic, and then you ended up playing with some people who were talented we didn't even know had talent. Like I think that you were um, like you were so great at what you did, and then you surrounded yourself by a whole bunch of great other people who ended up trickling out and then becoming their own
Yep.
thing. I know I can never remember his name, the blonde guy who did like the rapping. What's that?
Jeff Vanderbilt.
Right, Jeff, like, you know, and he was
Yeah,
famous.
he's out in California doing well, and
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. And you would have never thought that, probably, too.
Right. And then who else from Arctic Playground? Kristen.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Kristen Merlin, who's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, and she was on The Voice.
Yep.
You know, so like I tend to think that it's not so much that you surround yourself with great people, is that you influence other people to become great. That same attitude that you have, that positive vibe, kind of spreads out.
When I met Kristen, she wasn't playing. And I was like, she came into JP Ryan's, and I was like, and I heard her say, I go, what are you doing? And I remember being like, yeah, go. She had done a little bit before that, and then she stopped. And, you know, like, I love the idea of, I do it a lot. I get people up on the microphone a lot, because I remember when I started out, it was so scary. I didn't even know what an XLR cable was, or, you know,
Right.
honestly, I mean, I worked my way up from nothing as an adult. That's so much harder than as a kid.
That's true.
Because I already had so many things put inside my head at that point. So it took a lot of retraining, but yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a good ride, and I think encouraging people is the best route. I actually speak in my live shows to people about. I have a couple main stories that I put in almost every show that are meant and designed to push people, period. Because I'm not just going out there to make money, and this, for me, it's more about that connection, and actually maybe that births something into somebody that is a trickle, and it just keeps going and going and going, and that's what I really want.
Right, and that's great. Thank you so much. All right, so so I don't keep you tied up, is there any advice or any last minute type of points that you would like to talk about to encourage anybody else who's listening now or later on?
Yeah, whatever.
Play us out.
Yeah, I'll do a little bit of a song I wrote called "You Are the One." That's one that brings me all over the country. Bottom line, whatever it is that you have enjoyment in, whatever it is you think about doing, you got to do it. You got to go for it, and you can't be worried about not. See, I was never worried about not looking like a professional or instantly being good at it, because I understood it takes all those falls and all those times that it was tough to become the version that you want to become. But as long as you have that vision in you, there's a kid sitting at home right now that believes he can do something down the road, and that's what you need. That's the number one thing. If you have that, whatever it is, and then you put the work ethic with it, and you put I guess having oh man, what's the word I want to use for this? Well, it's having grit.
Grit. There you go.
I love the idea of having grit, because grit makes you get up when you don't want to get up. You know, grit makes you. You will fight your way through whatever it is that you are dealing with. So I would say have passion for what it is, believe in what your vision is, and have grit and just fight the fight no matter how long it takes.
Great. Well, thank you
Yeah,
so
man.
much, Rob. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate you, taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you got to take off and do your next show. Just out of curiosity, how hard is it to book a show right now? Like, I know you're trying to squeeze in, like, all things considered, but
Yeah, for me at this point, not hard.
hey, well, there you go.
I get messaged every day. I literally had 2 new ones that I never even heard of today. Like, yeah, I've been doing this long enough that my name's now out there and stuff.
Good.
And obviously, the shows aren't happening in Massachusetts, but I go out of state.
Right.
So, and I travel a lot anyway, so I have no problem doing that.
All right, great.
Hey, well, thanks for having me, man. I'll just play a little bit of this song called "You Are the One," and I've got iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. But whatever, it's more about just go for it, guys. Because if I didn't believe I could do this, none of this would happen, and my life is so much better because of it. Whispers softly dancing all around, rolling through the air, never falling to the ground. In existence, can't truly understand what's been missing from my life until that heats upon my hand. You are the one that makes me want to come right home. You are the one that can take my heart's control. Believe in me, 'cause what I see is everything that I'm dreaming of. I'll just leave y'all with that, guys. Thank you for having me very much. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your afternoon. Just a little snippet. But anyways, chase after your dreams and treat each other well and try to help each other out.
Thank you so much, man. Rob, I really appreciate it. And good luck. And I hope, I wish you safe travels and everything
man.
you're doing. I'll probably talk to you soon. Thanks
Awesome,
again.
brother. Appreciate it, dude. Have a good one, man.
You too.